Hello, so today we will analyze another game. This one's round 2 of Metroid Summer Chess Bonanza 2. So I'm playing with the white pieces this game, and my opponent is 1900 here. So I go e4. My opponent goes for g6, the modern perk defense, and this game actually teaches me a very valuable lesson. I go knight to c3, and after bishop to g7, after this tournament, uh, I went I went ahead and learned this opening here. I played f4 here, and I would later find out that bishop c4 is the better move order. Now, the idea of f4 is very simple here, so I want to play the Grand Prix attack here, but let's say just a few moves. I can also have the option to play d4, but bishop c4 is actually an even better move order to avoid very complicated lines here, because after f4, my opponent goes to the move I've never seen before, c6. I've never seen this move before, but my first thoughts were this looks like a Karo Khan. Now this it would look like this move order over here. They go g6. It would look like this move order. This is exactly what happens in the game. I played this. I spent quite some time here because I've never seen this move. I decided, okay, let's play d4 and play e5. I didn't know what the idea of this opening was. All I knew was my opponent was definitely going to develop the bishop outside of the pawn chain here and then play e6 here. And my opponent goes h5. And the idea is to put a knight on h6. And because I pushed these three pawns, yes, it does limit the bishop. But now they're putting a knight on f5. Maybe they can put a bishop on g4. They can put a bishop on g5. Those moves. And they're going to use... maybe they can start an attack on the king side. I go knight to f3. And apologies, we hear some rain outside. It is raining outside. So we get knight to h6. I play bishop to d3, developing the bishop, and they play bishop to f5. I play knight to e2 here. Now the correct way here to play is h3 here, to prevent any pieces from going in there, and then maybe play g4 in the future. It is a possible move here, g4. I think in some variations, once I trade off the bishops. But I play knight to e2. The idea being because okay, this bishop's very annoying. Why not put a knight on g3 and try to exchange it like that? They go for knight to d7, and here I can already go for knight to g3. Bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, but I don't remember why I didn't play that. I think it was like I was annoyed of this in the future here. Like let's say they take I think I was annoyed of this putting and then this. I think this is what I was annoyed about, which is why I didn't play knight to g3 here. So I played bishop to e3. Okay, let's develop the bishop. They play e6. Oh, okay, I remember. The reason why I thought, okay, no, I don't think I want to play knight to g3 here was because here, or was it yeah, I think it was this here. I was very annoyed at this, and I can't put a bishop here on e3. That's why. But I can just put a bishop on d2, and I'm better. So, but I played bishop to e3, which is a mistake here because now they can just play e6 here. I mean, I was only at knight g5 here, uh, but I was thinking about it like bishop just drops back to g1, h3, and put a bishop on f2, and they play e6 here, one of the common moves in the Karo Khan, or in this case, the Karo Perk defense, because it's a combination of those two openings. I just go c3 here, and basically I'm just playing against this bishop. That's just my whole idea with this opening. They castle, and I castle. They play queen to e7. I don't know the idea of this move. Maybe it's just to connect the rooks. Maybe play f6 in the future. Uh, I go bishop to f2 here. Because I was annoyed at knight g4 here. I play bishop to f2 with an idea of putting a bishop on h4. Because I didn't want to go here now, because in the future I was annoyed of this. Like, let's say they play a random move here. Takes. Oh, wait, no. They go here. I think takes. Wait, what was it? Trying to remember. Was it like I can't remember actually. I think it was like I didn't want to take here, that's for sure. Like, I was annoyed at this. This is what I was annoyed about. Wait, I forgot about this. And then, like, I'd have to drop the knight back because I didn't want to take. Okay, so we get a bishop to f2 here. Putting bishop on h4, so now I can play knight to g3 safely without having to get my knight kicked out by h4. They go rook fc8 here. Maybe in the future playing c5, as you'll see in the game later. I go bishop to h4. They go queen to f8, and I go h3 here. Now the idea of this move is in the future I'm starting an attack here with g5. After I trade off these bishops maybe, like let's see, a6 or something, I don't know. Takes, if you take like this, I was thinking about g4 here in this position, but apparently it's bishop f2 and then g4, I guess. But I was definitely thinking about this move here. Let's say a c5, g4, takes. And here I'm going to try to attack here because if I don't, I think black is just going to be better because they have a lot of initiative on the queen side here with c5 here. So I go h3 and then they go c5 immediately here. And the idea of this move is to create some weaknesses. I go knight to g3 here, trying to trade off this annoying bishop here, and finally they take. After takes, they take. C takes d4, and this pawn will become a weakness. This pawn right here, this d4 pawn, this is a weakness, and this pawn as well is going to be annoying to defend. They go queen to b4, which in my opinion is a very good move here, because it hits the pawn, I mean pressures it, and it hits the pawn on b2. Now if I play something like b3, I was annoyed at rook c3. I didn't like this move because then I had to move the queen and then they could just double up on the c5. So I didn't like this b3. I didn't want to play that. I was also thinking about sacrificing the pawn, maybe like I don't know, just moving the rook somewhere, I think. And if they ever take, I was thinking about something like this, trying to get the rook to the 7th rank over here to pressure the knight and the pawns and also hit this pawn. I was thinking about that as well. But ultimately, I decided to play rook b1. Now, rook f2 is the better move here, guarding the 2nd rank here and defending the pawn. This was a better move, but I played rook to b1, rook a b1, and which is a mistake because this rook isn't really doing anything over here. But the rook on f2, on the other hand, was doing something, guarding the 2nd rank as well. Anyway, after rook a b1, they play knight to b6 here, and now I was thinking, okay, if I play b3, is there just rook? Is there just rook c3 here? But apparently, there's queen to d2 here. Now I didn't like this move, but I missed this resource, queen to d2, just pinning the rook to the queen here. And you can't do anything here. Let's say rook goes there, just knight to e2 here. I missed this move, queen to d2. I could have just played b3, but ultimately I decided to play a3 here, which is another mistake. a3 here weakens this b pawn even further. And after queen to c4, I didn't want to take because after takes, it just looks like they have a better position here, because like, you know, the knight's hitting the pawn here, and if I ever push the b pawn, then they take the a pawn, and it's going to be very hard to exchange this knight here. I'd have to put a rook here and then here, but they just have access, excuse me, to the square on e3 here to dodge that exchange, and additionally they have a knight going to f5. They play queen to b3 here. I go rook fc1. They go bishop to f8. I go knight to e2 here. The idea of queen to b3 here is to just stop this weakness here. They are putting a knight on c4, and I can't stop that. So I decided, okay, let's play rook to c1, and if they go knight to c4 here, I was going to meet it with queen to c3. But apparently queen to e1, which is what I was supposed to play in this position here, because if queen to c3, then that puts queen on the c file, and after takes, if I take like this, is there just this move? Oh wait, there's rook takes c8. Okay. Uh, okay. I think I understand now. Uh, my rook is just doing nothing here. And I can never push the b pawn again, because then the a pawn is hanging. They played the move bishop to f8. Now I think the idea of that move was to prevent this move queen to b4. But I was never really planning to do that anyway. Oh, alright, because I was thinking of bishop to e7 in some lines here to try and put a bishop here. I was thinking about this, if I remember correctly, I was thinking about this. I think their idea was to stop bishop to e7, I'm not sure, with this move. So, f5 here is the only move to have some initiative. Sacrificing a pawn here, the idea being that after you take like this, then I had to just take this pawn. If you take like this, then after rook to e1, maybe I'll push here, put a knight on g4 in the future, uh, rook c6, and then like queen to f4 here. Maybe an idea of sacrificing here. The idea is to activate all your pieces for an attack here. I go knight to e2, the idea of bringing the knight over to c3 to try and block off the c file here. They go for knight to f5, exploiting the opportunity that my knight moved from g3 to e2, so now I can't trade. I go bishop to f2, they go bishop to h6, pressuring this pawn over here on f4. I decided to go knight to g5, which is a mistake. What would happen if I just continued with my plan here? Oh, right, they just have knight to c4. Forgot. Knight to c4, hitting both pawns here. And I can't move the queen to simultaneously defend this and this pawn. So I played knight to g5 to try and close it off, but this is just a mistake because it's weakening every single pawn here. These three pawns now are a weakness. This pawn being a weakness once they take this pawn. And this pawn because as long as they play h4 here, uh, it's a weakness. h4, and now I can't defend this pawn, and I'm losing. I'm going to be at least down a pawn. And by this point in the game, I had like 10 minutes only. I spent so much time on this move, uh, where is it? d4, because I didn't know the idea of this move of c6 here, and now I'm low on time by move 25. After h4, I go rook to c3 here, trying to kick out the queen, and after rook takes, queen takes c3, they're obviously not going to trade and give me an easy time. They just go queen to b5, and it's very hard here. I don't know what to play here, because they're hitting the knight here. I have a weakness on b2. Uh, d4 here is another weakness, and additionally g5 is always going to be a weakness here. So I played the move knight to f4 here, having no idea what to do. Maybe the idea was to go knight d3 here. Maybe try to trade over here. They go rook c8. I go queen to d3. Okay, that was the idea. So it was to trade off the queens here. Queen to a4, knight to e2 here, and rook c2. I mean queen c2, which is the key move. Queen to c2, and now I'm forced to trade here. I was looking at queen to e1 here, but queen takes, rook takes, and then just rook c2, and I'm gonna lose everything here. So I just decided to take, and play the move knight to f4. After knight to f4, they play knight to c4 here, and I'm going to lose a pawn here because if I go b3, then they just have this move here, and after I go rook a1, they have knight to b5 to defend the pawn. If I go knight to d3, then now they play the move rook to d2 here. hitting the knight here and this pawn over here. After I go knight to c5 here, uh, here they can just take this pawn already, like knight takes, and if, after I take this, they're just winning with like knight to e2 check here, says the engine here, and then like knight takes e5, and you're just going to use your knights and your one pawn advantage here. But I hit the pawn on b7 here, so they play b6 first. I go knight to a4, and they go b5. I go knight to c3 here, and I'm just blitzing out moves here because at this point I'm losing. I in the end game, which means there's like a 1% chance to win here with the white. They go a6 here to defend the pawn, and here I just go b3, takes rook to a1, and I'm trying to create a trap, trying to bait them into playing knight to c2 and then playing this move. But anyway, still losing after b4. Knight goes to b5, and then like knight to g3 here because there's no defenders of the king, and you're getting mated. They go b4 now to defend the knight, and here I go knight to a4. Knight to c2 is played, and here I go rook to c1. Knight to g3 is played, bishop takes, h takes, and after knight to c5 and knight takes d4, I ultimately resign here because there's nothing I can do here. If I take this pawn, then I'm losing the rook here and the game because I'm getting mated here because of this g pawn here. And if I defend this threat with something like a rook to e1, then they just push the a pawn here. This is a weakness, and this is a weakness, and I'm going to lose in this endgame down 2 pawns, and I'm about to lose like two of them. Two of these pawns, these two are big weaknesses, and this as well. Forgot about that. But anyway, that was a nice game played by my opponent. After this whole tournament here, the first thing I learned was how to deal with this opening, the move c6. So that the next time I saw this, I would know what to do. And what I learned was bishop to c4 is a better move order here instead of f4. And that was a nice game here. And bye.